Showtime, showtime. Hello, my people. On tonight's show, it's a rap and bitches extravaganza. We're gonna be premiering some dope new tracks by rapper slash porn star Thug Nasty. I love Thug Nasty. Ha! Real cool guy. I mean, this dude had a lot of porn sites. I can't go to his porn sites on the show because we'll get kicked off of Ustream and YouTube and everything. But trust me, just search for Thug Nasty. You'll find him. I'm sure he'll tell us what site are. Let's call him now. Calling Thug Nasty.
Hey, what's up with it? It must be hard fucking awful.
Oh, hell yeah!
Hard fucking awful. What's up with it, man?
What is up, Thug Nasty?
Oh, man, you know me, man. We're fucking busy. We getting money as usual, man. Hey, you know what? I smoke so much fucking weed, man. As soon as I see the fucking number, I just remember we had an appointment, man. What's your pod off with television?
Alright.
Pod off with that time. What's good, man?
Look, I was
What's going over there?
Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, 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 too nasty for the radio. And it was written, I speak it to existence, every lyric that I'm spitting. No bullshit, I wouldn't shit you if you was my last turd. All a man has is his word. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. I wouldn't clean my act up if you pay me though. Your girl loves my dog style and wanna pay me though. I'm from the old school, no Captain Saber ho. I got 'em on the daily though. Women are my luxury. I'm a sex addict, no need for recovery. No skullduggery, no shit. Skullduggery's a word, you can Google it. Call me a lyrical soldier, vocabulary's vulgar. Every morning I give thanks, waking, bake, drinking, Folger. I'm from 707, stay backwards that I told you. I'm on the pod off the TV show because I'm too nasty for the radio. Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. Yeah, I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, too nasty for the radio. I'm too nasty for the radio. Thug Nasty, 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 too nasty for the radio. My woman got $1 million pocket. Boost that face. I give her beer money for a champagne taste. She told me at the bother that I'm a cheapskate, so I took her ass to Mickey D's on our first date. Yeah, she's having fun and I'm loving it. She got me singing ba da ba 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 while she's sucking it. She's a cheap date and I'm a cheapskate, getting head with a Happy Meal on her first date. Yeah, I only love her when I'm getting sloppy topped off. She deep throated when it's hard, suck it till it's soft. Throat goat, don't choke, gag nor cough. She been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. I only love her when I'm getting sloppy topped off. Deep throated when it's hard, suck it till it's soft. Throat goat, don't choke, gag nor cough. She been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. She been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. Yeah.
Miss Lockjaw.
She been at it by the hour, Mrs. Lockjaw.
Man, I know you ain't in here calling me no Lockjaw on a motherfucking song. Man, you talking about me, but let me tell you how you be. Temptation, oral fixation, tongue on his tip, cause he love the sensation. Throat baby, hanging off the bed. I'm only giving throat, I'm beyond giving head. Tears streaming, eyeballs gleaming, mouth watering, cause I'm waiting for the semen. No, I don't choke on my throat, baby demon. Got him hooked on the throat like some cock, now he's seen. Please believe it, I'm the only one he's seen. Head so good, call a throat baby demon. I said head so good, call a throat baby demon.
Lyrically, metaphorically speaking, like crystal meth, I have you on a mission tweaking, never sleeping, seeking for a logical reason where half of you haters be wishing and others be dreaming. Hi hater, how you like me now? When I roll up on your side of the hood, I make your girl say, because she know if she say my name, she'll get famous. My game plan is the greatest. Fuck bitches ain't getting money, it's so brainless. Yeah, I know I ain't right, I gave your girl my lazy eye, she chose on sight. When I roll up on your side of the hood, I make your girl say,
Thug Nasty Entertainment. Thug Nasty Entertainment. Thug Nasty Entertainment.
when I roll up on your side of the hood, I make your girl say,
Thug Nasty Entertainment. Thug Nasty Entertainment. Thug Nasty Entertainment. Thug Nasty Entertainment.
hi hater, how you like me now? When I roll up on your side of the hood, I make your girl say, because she feeling my style, but I ain't feeling her style, man, so please calm down. I hate insecure bitch niggas, the type that get mad because you looking at they bitch nigga. Hold on, I'm a pimp nigga, your bitch she broke for me, I need to go get her. When I roll up on your side of the hood, I make your girl say,
Thug Nasty Entertainment.
hey ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. Hey ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. March 14th is a calendar date when real men celebrate second blowjob day. But then the women give you head on during the day and cue a steak on the grill, second blowjob day. Hey ladies, it's a holiday. Wake up your man with your mouth, second blowjob day. Give me a sloppy BJ just to start the day. I like them both well done, second blowjob day. Hey, everybody, it's a holiday. Jawbone with T-bone, second blowjob day. Spitters and quitters, so the ladies got it smaller today. She could complete second blowjob day. Hey ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. Hey ladies, it's a holiday. March 14th, second blowjob day. On Valentine's Day, we gave you ladies a break. Now it's March 14th, second blowjob day. Hey. Dedicated to my best friend. Yeah. My lover and my best friend. I love you, best friend. Hey, Black Milk on the beat. Yeah, She stood about 5'6" with some nice size tits. Her DSLs make a nigga bust quick. She only gets submissive when I'm giving her the dick. Any other time she bossy playing hard to get. We were friends before lovers, that's some real nigga shit. We both have a past and we recognize this. We don't put a title on our relationship. She lets me do me and I appreciate this. She's my best friend. Sometimes I wish she was my girlfriend. I want her all to myself, fuck her X-Men. I know better than to let my feelings get in the way of our friendship, that will be a sin. But it's hard because she's beautiful and hella cool. She's really smart, like the same things that I do. Now I'm confused and don't know what to do. I'm getting mad when she tell me she talked to other dudes. We argue on the phone, she hang up in my face. I'm feeling bad cause we ain't talked in a couple days. I text good morning love, she reply good morning babe. I text back I apologize, she texts back it's okay. We back talking again, I'm having better days. I got it bad, call me Usher Ray. I love my best friend, I love her even when she tell me that she don't want to be more than just friends. Cause even though I want her as my girlfriend, my heart knows that it's best she be my best friend. I love you best friend. Black milk on the beat. My lover and my best friend. Dilla nasty, Dilla nasty. Testing 1 2 1 2. Let's go. Smoking on cookies right in the Dilla, feeling good. Bitch don't get my vibe, yeah, I wish a nigga would. I'm a pillar in the hood, respected in my community, where hating is a crime and you get no immunity. This is nothing new to me, I spit this for a reason. Blessed with the gift, not to use it will be treason. Lyrically I'm beastin', my style is like judo. Hit you with the Street Fighter 2, all you get. Yeah, this next part is for the ladies. I'm looking for a lady that's real, not shady. I'm looking for a woman to bring home to the wifey. Wifey said she want a girlfriend, so I'm working on it. My daddy said that takes patience, so I'm working on it. My mama said I need Jesus, so I'm working on it. I just wanna live a good life, so I'm working on it. Spit that drunken master flow mixed with judo. Shout out to my niggas in the pen drinking Pruno. I played my last card to win the game like Uno. Lyrically I'm blessed by the best is what I do know. I dream that I can make beats like Dilla, so I'm working on it. I know my lyrics could be better, so I'm working on it. Dilla beats make me wanna write, so I'm working on it. Dilla nasty, the mixtape, I'm working on it, working on it. Yeah, working on it, working on it, working on it.
Yeah. Anna's Global History Podcast Radio. This is your boy DJ Rowe, and you was listening to some of that Thug Nasty. Anna, you in the building?
Yes, I am. Just enjoying Thug Nasty.
Man,
Where's
I was DJing a little earlier,
Yeah,
and I was just I was just like, Thug Nasty has a lot of hits.
he does. He really does. Where's he been anyway? I haven't seen him on any.
I'm gonna have to go by and see what he's up to, man. I ain't heard from Thug Nasty in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, we love you, Thug. Where are you, man? Miss you.
I gotta get a hold of that dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out Thug Nasty. Who else were we listening to?
It was mainly Thug Nasty. Thug Nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's a star. So yeah. One day he'll be out there, man. We'll say we knew him.
Definitely, but I'm gonna be like, man, Thug Nasty.
Yeah.
How did you know Thug Nasty? How did you get to know Thug Nasty?
Through you.
Really?
Yeah.
Age?
Yeah. That's how I know him. Through you guys.
Age first or?
No, I mean through both you guys. I think he was there when we all met at Jessica's place, and
He was.
yeah, just got to talking with him at Duck Soup, and I just always had such a great time talking with him.
Well, the only reason why I said that, I know he's from Vallejo originally, so I thought you guys might have known each other way before time.
No, I know I'm like Vallejo, but I've only been here a couple of years. I don't know people from way back.
Dude, it's
in
like
Vallejo.
you bring up Hannah. It's a good, everybody knows Hannah. Like she has the key to the city.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Tomorrow I have an interview to be on a panel, to be on a commission or panel or something or other about the Measure P tax. It was a tax that was passed in Vallejo, a 7/8 of a cent. Yeah, yeah. And there were people really, really against it. There were people like, blah, 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 this is terrible. Like, okay, you're gonna miss that 7/8 of a cent, man. I think I can spare it. It's not on food or medication. So, if it's so that 7/8 of a cent is not gonna keep you from eating or getting your medication. So anyway, there's supposed to be a citizens advisory commission for it, and I guess they were looking for people to apply, so I applied and I voted for it. So I figured I should try and take some responsibility, I guess. So yeah, then last week they were meeting about continuing to use ARPA funds, the American Rescue Plan, from the post-COVID funds. So some of it was supposed to go to a skate park, and then some of the council members were like, wait, a skate park? And I understand the point. I mean, it just sort of shows how stupid it is. I mean, they can't come up with money for skate parks elsewhere, so they're trying to use American Rescue money, which is supposed to be going to help build back from COVID. So, and so some of it is supposed to go to the animal shelter, and somebody was critical of that, but animal shelters had a hard time during the pandemic because a lot of people couldn't afford their pets and surrendered pets, and yeah, so they should get some help. And the main problem is not funding, is the city not giving any money to cultural events. Yesterday was Fiesta de la Patrias, which is a Latin American independence. It's not even just Mexico independence, which is what I originally thought it was. So the street, a block of Georgia Street in Vallejo is just taken. Yeah, you saw it, right? Yeah, that's Mario's deal. Yeah, Mario's been on our show. I mean, he puts these together, and people come from all over the county, and there's just different dances and music going on all day and booths. But most of all, it's just amazing to me that you can, because you're talking about many different cultures, and you really see that with the music and the dances, that people are doing traditional dances from their culture. And it's just a really wonderful thing. And they don't get any support from the city, and other things do. So some of us we're gonna try and deal with that. And yeah.
Why is it you think they don't get support from the city, or what's the deal?
Because racism. It's a mostly brown event. And that's coming from the organizers, not from me. Yeah, because they can. I think because I think that there's people who, Mario's really focused on doing his thing, and he's gonna do it no matter what. He's gonna find a way to do that. So I think that's part of it. I think there's people who put together projects who don't. I think there's people that start with getting money, that don't do anything until they get money, and I don't go like that, because if I wait for money, nothing will happen. If I wait to get money from someone to put on an event, my event's not going to happen for the most part. I mean, so I think that could be part of it. I think that there's and it'll just have to do with which bigwigs are involved. And some of these organizations have people involved with a lot more influence. So yeah, but we gotta try and change it. And it's sort of alternating, because Mario's the sort of person, sometimes he wants help, sometimes he doesn't. You know how people are. Sometimes they'll, yeah, I don't know. So you got to just, the city hasn't supported the powwow either. And the bullshit is that they use pictures of these events in marketing and publicity. They talk them up and all of that, but they don't give them any money.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what's going on here. Did you watch the game today?
Of course.
Of course. Who won?
Very bad for the Raiders today.
Oh, fuck.
About.
Yeah, but they got loyal fans.
Oh yeah, they always will. But man, I'm not super bad. The team we lost to is a playoff team. It was the Bills. They're a good team, so it's not like we lost to like a weak team. So it was a tough team. So
Oh, okay.
played in their area. We were in their home, so we were in their home. So
Oh, okay. I was looking back on my Facebook memories, and when was the last time the Raiders played here? Like 5 years ago?
Yeah. We got Carr. Oh.
Because I
2020.
2020? No, it was okay. I can
They've been in their stadium for 3 or 4
okay. 2017.
It was 2017?
Yeah.
That long?
Yeah. Yeah. I saw it on my Facebook, my Facebook memories. I have a post which says Raiders, great day to be on BART.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that would have been a Sunday. That would have been a day I was going to the opera, because I were a lot, because sometimes you're on the BART. Sometimes when opera days are game days, everybody's on the BART. So yeah, I guess that day was a Raiders day. It popped up. I was like, I even remember it. It was so noticeable. So yes, 2017.
I think it's 2019.
Okay, well, 2017 was the last time I noticed. 2017 was the last time there was a Raiders game the same day as the opera.
Because I'm reading, it says from 1995 to 2019, they played in Oakland.
Okay.
I want to see when their last. You got me wondering now. When was their last game? Let's try it like that.
Okay.
I'm curious. So you went to the game?
No, I didn't go to the game. I was going to the opera, and there was a lot of Raiders fans on BART. Raiders fans and opera fans. Sometimes we all collide.
December 29th, 2019.
Okay.
They lost 16-15.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
thought it was, oh, okay.
It was against the Chargers. Oh, well. Either way,
Yeah. Yeah. I started to watch the movie 42 about, but yeah, I got kind of bored. I knew what was going to happen. Okay, so okay, this is a hell of a sentence. I was reading and I just don't do DNA. If you don't have a reason to do a DNA test, a real specific reason, I suggest not doing one.
and why is this?
Okay, so because I was reading an article about a family where somebody did 23andMe and found out that a dad and his son had no biological relationship. So what had happened was they'd used a sperm bank and the sperm got mixed up. Wait, or was it so the sentence reads, 4 parents were violated by the mistakes at the clinic in different ways. Vanner had the paternity of his son taken from him. Devin's sperm was used without his knowledge or consent. Donna had conceived and gestated a child with someone she had never met or agreed to have a baby with. And Kelly had to come to terms with the fact that another woman was mother to her husband's child.
Woo.
Is that confusing or what? And they, because they were, they had this family, they had embryos stored that they wanted to use, but they didn't use them because they didn't know whose sperm had created them.
Yeah, I don't know. In some ways, that's probably a good reason to have DNA testing, I guess. But in some ways, I mean, that's kind of messed up.
It is messed up, and they could have been just, I mean, you know, the problem with something like that, it's just, you could just feel like everything was fine, but then you just find out that your life is complete. Who you are is different than who you thought you were.
Yeah.
So
That's kind of messed up in certain ways too. I mean, it's just, I get your point. Maybe it's not good to have it to keep it quiet, but I don't know. People do want to know. You know what I'm saying? If
that would be really rough.
that would be rough, man.
Yeah. And in some circumstances, the guy, like, there wasn't a question of, because this would be awful. I mean, there wasn't a question. He didn't question whether his wife had been unfaithful. That was, because that can happen with stuff like that too. But that would be horrible. You could think that. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm just really, so then, yeah, I just, because of the different podcasts I listen to, the adoption abolitionists. I was reading a biography of a woman named Georgia Tann, who was, she died in around 1950. So between the 20s and the 50s, she was responsible for like 400,000 adoptions. She flat out kidnapped children and abused them, and she single-handedly created the business of adoption. Adoption as we know it did not exist before then. There was something called the orphan train, where which some do-gooders put together. But I mean, in the 20th century, in the early parts of the 20th century, I mean, there was just poverty. There were children living on the street. So people would pick them up. So they were picked up and put on a train going west, and people would just come down to the station and just pick them out, basically, to be farmhands. So that was how it was done before. And I think the difference that people see, because I mean, obviously it's not, I mean, there were people coming down and picking up kids for all sorts of the wrong reasons, but the difference is that adoption is taking away identity. And say if these kids are being put on a train and sent somewhere, they're not being told, their name isn't changed, I guess. And that's something that people now feel very strongly about. Your name, your identity is taken away. So that was the difference. And there wasn't so much, people weren't doing that. People didn't do that because they wanted kids. People didn't come down and get them. Most people didn't come down and get them from the trains because they wanted kids. They wanted farmhands. They wanted people to help with the house. So one of the things that happens when before children would go to adoptive homes is they're in foster care. So when adoptees find out about their history, if they do manage to find their original birth certificate, they'll find that, but then their adoption could have happened months later. So they don't know where they were during those times. They don't know who took care of them. And people just feel this great emptiness. And until I started reading about this, I had no idea how prevalent the treatment is. I mean, people are writing and talking about always feeling rejected, always feeling unwanted. I mean, because then people feel, and it's fucked up, because people are like, when people say like, oh, well, we can't have kids, so we're going to adopt. And you should adopt because kids don't want to be, a human can't be a consolation prize. And also a lot of people just go ahead and continue. I mean, they're doing this process of trying to adopt while they're still trying to have a child biologically. And so then sometimes if they go ahead and have a biological child, they just favor that child. People will talk about the feeling of never seeing somebody that looks like them. People will say before, people that were adopted will say before they had a child, nobody resembled them. So there wasn't Georgia Tann marketed children. She would put ads in the paper of, you can have this, for like Christmas, little Johnny needs some, then something like, do you want to be throwing baseballs with this adorable little boy? And she was severely abusive to children in her care. And what she was doing was, she would go after poor children she would only go after white children. She only worked and she would kind of pick them out. They'd like stalk people practically. And if you are running a business like this, you can she was paying off people in hospitals. She was paying off people all over the place to let her know about single mothers, and she had judges on her payroll. And this was all taking place in Memphis. And so she made adoption a business in respect of sending kids out of state. She'd market children to celebrities. And one of the reasons it can become so hard to crack down on these practices is that there were plenty of people with money and influence that had gotten children from her. Because a lot of time people with money, people that had the money to pay adoption fees often have positions of influence and power. So there were governmental figures in Tennessee that had adopted from Georgia Tann. So nobody went after her. And right before, nobody was even starting to go after her until she was dying. And there were still illegal adoptions taking place even after she died, because there were children that had been apprehended that were in her homes or whatever, where procedures had been started. So so they were sent off also. And what happened, and then in order to try, all of the records of that agency were sealed by the state of Tennessee after Georgia Tann died. So there's no way to find out which adoptions were illegal and for people to find out about themselves. And we've talked before about adoption from South Korea, and that country has continued. They have a low birth rate, but children continue to be adopted out because there's businesses that get strongholds in there. So there's a move. I think one of the things that's happening is movements develop from adoptees from certain countries, because there's communities of South Korean adoptees that are traveling together, that are lobbying together, that are trying to find out about themselves because they find out that they've been lied to and that their parents have been lied to, their adoptive parents, and hopefully they haven't. So yeah, so the South Korean effort is going on right now. So far as I think I heard about Georgia Tann through I guess the anti-adoption advocates I follow on Twitter. There was a sort of historical fiction novel about her, and I think I kind of got it mixed up. And well, I read it around the same. I can't remember which one I read. I think I read that, and then I read the biography of her. The person writing the biography, who wrote the biography, is an adoptive parent, and I don't think she sufficiently held Tan accountable, because if you're doing things like she was doing, she was torturing children, and she was starving them, and just the figures from her orphanage of infant mortalities were skewed the rates for the entire state of Tennessee. She'd take children from she'd take newborns from the hospital before they were supposed to be taken. So that's what people can get away with it. People can get away with a lot.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah. There's a cat colony across the street from me, and we've been taking care of some kittens there. And they were supposed to go to a foster, and we're kind of in a couple weeks. They're teeny. They're still their mom feeding from their mother, and somebody came and took the kittens. We were going to do it, but we were going to give them a couple more weeks. And I'm like, we wanted them to have some more time with their mother. It's not good to take kittens away from their mother too early. So I don't know. It's just wild how attached I can feel to them. Yeah. There's some other ones that are hidden and that hide, and then they'd come crawling out when they saw me, and one of them has spasms and gunky eyes, and I was holding, and I was thinking about taking him to the vet, and I'm thinking no, you're not, because that's kind of something that it's a feral kitten. They're going to die. A lot of them are going to die. I can't be spending the money. So I miss them. I thought they were hiding yesterday, but then today some of the stuff I'd put out for them was all stacked up. So I called the cat colony boss and asked him. So, did you DJ this weekend?
Yes, I had a wedding.
Where was it?
Pablo, Eagles Hall.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Pretty good. It's pretty fun wedding to DJ.
Yeah, it looked fun. I always like seeing your lives, get a little snatch of somebody's happiness. People are having a good time. You want to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay.
Hey, how you do? Remember me? I'd have to lose all the brain cells in my head before I could get something as fine as you.
Does everyone need an audition to get with you?
You ain't gotta go through all that shit.
And then I choose you.
Be cool, baby. Hey, bitch, come here.
Shut your motherfucking man, come here! Mr. Pretty Tony, I mean, you know the rules of the game. I mean, your bitch just chose me. Now we can settle this like you got some class, so we can get into some gangster shit.
Turn up all day like it's payday. Smoke, drink, and parlay, then invite your girl to the party. Girl, sip your glass of wine. Damn, girl, your ass is fine. I just wanna spend some time, admire your body and explore your mind, cause I'm a real nigga. Don't give a fuck how you feel. Nigga, straight out of Vallejo, I'm from the Ville. Nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel. Not she with a real nigga, straight out of Vallejo, I'm from the Ville. Nigga, don't give a fuck how you feel. Nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel. Nigga, trapping and rapping, I be rapping and trapping. Yo, bitch love my mackin', cause I keep it cracking. Make my next move my best move and I make it happen. Trapping and rapping, rapping and trapping, trapping and rapping. I be rapping and trapping. Yo, bitch love my mackin', cause I keep it cracking. Make my next move my best move and I make it happen. Trapping and rapping, rapping and trapping. I got such a loyal bitch. When she got her stimulus, she took me out and she cashed me out and gave me a zip of Chris. Told me to flip shit, cause she know I'm with the shit. It's COVID-19 tax season, so I double flip the shit. I sell a dime for 20, a dub for 40. A gram is 50 for your bitch is 40. Don't ask for credit, don't try to short me. Please lose my number if you can't afford me. I pay the cost to be the boss. No need to floss, nor take a loss. I got the drip, I stay with the sauce. My time is money, don't piss me off, cause I'm a real nigga. Don't give a fuck how you feel. Nigga, straight out of Vallejo, I'm from the Ville. Nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel. Not she with a real nigga. Straight out of Vallejo, I'm from the Ville. Nigga, don't give a fuck how you feel. Nigga, I'll give your bitch dick, she can feel. Nigga, trapping and rapping, I be rapping and trapping. Yo, bitch love my mackin', cause I keep it cracking. Make my next move my best move and I make it happen. Trapping and rapping, rapping and trapping.
Yeah, this next song, this song is going out to Scott. Scott, this was the song you heard the other day. It's called Top Off with Thug Nasty featuring Jayla. The girl's name is Jayla. So let's do it. This is for Scott. Scotty. Let's do it. Top Off. Thug Nasty.
My woman got $1 million body with a food stamp face. I give her beer money for a champagne taste. She told me it don't bother me that I'm a cheapskate, so I took her ass to Mickey D's on our first date. Yeah, she's having fun and I'm loving it. She got me singing ba da ba 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 while she's sucking it. She paid, and I'm a cheapskate getting hit with a Happy Meal on her first date. Yeah, all in the world, getting sloppy topped off. She thought it when it's hard, suck it till it's soft. Throat, toe gagging her cough. She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. On the level when I'm getting sloppy topped off. Deep throated when it's hard, suck it till it's soft. Throat, toe gagging her cough. She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw. She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw.
Miss Lockjaw.
She been at it about an hour, Mrs. Lockjaw.
Man, I know you ain't in here calling me no lockjaw on a motherfucking song. Man, you talking about me, but let me tell you how you be. Temptation, oral fixation, tongue on his tip, cause he love the sensation. Throw baby, hanging off the bed. I'm only giving throat, I'm beyond giving head. Tip streaming, eyeballs gleaming, mouth watering, cause I'm waiting for the semen. But no, I don't choke on my throat. Baby demon got him hooked on the throat like some cosmetic thing. Please believe me, I'm the only one he's seen. Head so good, call it throw baby demon. I said head so good, call it throw baby demon.
We are back. Anna's Podcast History Radio. You in the building, Anna?
Yes, I am. I'm just kind of taking in that latest song.
That's actually not, that's been around, but I don't know if you remember Scott. Do you remember Scott? He came on the show once.
I think so. Yeah, Scott, of course. Yeah, he's supposed to, yeah.
Likes the part when when Thug Nasty does the little McDonald's chime.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves that part. So I was like, that's the name of the song.
It was starting to sound, it was kind of starting to, it sounds like one of Age's discussion topics.
Well, we all know Thug Nasty, so
Yeah.
speaks
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Where do you take some? Yeah, I don't even know, man. With some of these, I don't even know where to go with some of the questions. It's just, I live in a different world. Man. Wait a minute. Okay. So, I don't know. Jan Wenner, the publisher of Rolling Stone magazine. Okay, that's been around like, I don't know, whatever, 60 years or something, forever. And a lot of famous people got going there. And Jan Wenner, he just wrote a book called I don't know, Seven Maestro, something or other. About, the greatest rock and roll, and he interviewed 7 white guys. So, no great surprise. And so he was asked about that, and he said something like there wasn't a woman, that they didn't have this level of articularity. So, okay. So he was kicked out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But what is so ridiculous about that is this guy's got to be old now. I mean, I think he might have retired or something. So now you're going to do something about this. I mean, meanwhile, like, it's what somebody like him does now doesn't really make any difference. The past 60 years, he's had control over, everything, who gets covers, whose music gets played, who gets signed. I mean, the whole industry. If somebody like that somebody like him makes the structure that we have. So 60 years later, people are gonna get on his case, because it's ridiculous. It's already been done. Basically, so what if he wants to write a book about his favorite musicians? That's not what matters. What matters is all the people, all the non-white men that have not gotten a platform over the years. That's what he should be criticized for, not who he decides to put in his stupid book. So, yeah, because we've had that. I mean, we've had that talk about how few women, or what it takes for a woman to get awards, be on the, whatever Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that stuff. So, okay, wow. It takes an interview once you're retired to get a reaction from someone. So that's just pure performative. I mean, that is to make whomever work, that's to make it look like you give a shit. Like, okay, how about you give some, give people record contracts, okay, exposure. Do something for the artists, for people that are trying to get it out there now. I mean, who cares that do you expect this guy to stop, being like he is? No. And it's, and in a way, it's kind of I don't really, it's just not the stance that I would take. Like, okay, if you're writing about, I don't really like that question in some respects, because for anybody, because he wrote a book, like it doesn't really make sense to me to ask somebody, why didn't you write a different book than the one you wrote?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there's other people that are a much bigger problem. Okay, so Biden was in Asia and and working on trade deals and stuff like that, the G20 summit, I think. And then on the way back to the US, he stopped in Vietnam and met with the communist leader there. And it was, I mean, American leaders have visited Vietnam before, but I guess what makes this different is that it was an official visit. And I guess because there's a picture of Biden and the Vietnamese president sitting together, that people are making a big deal out of that. The United States is now visiting Vietnam as a fellow country, and they're doing it to try and give China less influence in the area. And then, of course, people were bashing on him for saying he needed to go to sleep. I mean, it's like world, it's like 20-hour flights or whatever. So yeah, I was reading an article in the New York Times today about how, I mean, it's sort of like, there's no point even talking about it, that basically the party leaders are lining up behind Biden because that's just what they're supposed to do. And the people that, I guess, apparently the public is more concerned about Biden's age and all of that. They just need to keep it. And that is because I think the people they're worried about really is like, those are people that could go over to Trump, basically. That, yeah, people aren't feeling it with Biden. I mean, so because there's no law against the U.S. against the president being in jail. So, damn, that would suck. I was reading an article about Tim Scott, who's the first Black Republican elected from the South since Reconstruction. And he's running for president. He's 57 and unmarried. And so I was reading an article about that. And it's funny how people get these assignments, because the author put down, like, this isn't a wink wink about whether he's gay. It was kind of, it's always tricky. I mean, somebody's writing an article about other people writing articles, and so he claims that he has a girlfriend that is under, that if he needs to get more public, they'll get more public. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think with somebody in a position like that, there's always people trying to like catch them out and all that. So I think with somebody like that, I mean, I just think it's possible some people are not interested in dating and relationships. Some people are just like that, because sometimes when you see somebody in politics, when you see a man in politics that's not married, or it's hard to think, it's just such a expected thing for people in public life to be married, and it draws so much attention for a public official to be unmarried, for a man, that it kind of makes me think like, okay, this person that it's not a case of just not finding the right one. This person must really not want to get married, basically. Because the kind of people that run for office are pretty ambitious and calculating, and they know that they pick somebody that's going to look good with them. I'm reading about Frank Church, who was a senator from Idaho, and that played a major role in publicizing the CIA attempts to destabilize governments and promote business interests. And that was in the 70s. And I'm kind of getting to how I got to that. It was a real convoluted path, but he was one of these burning, ambitious people. And he married someone whose father and grandfather, I think, had both been governors. So people have yeah. So it's just, so when somebody's gonna go off the beaten path, it makes me think like, wow, you must really not want to get married. I mean, because there's certainly not hard for people to get married and lead separate lives. So, well, it's harder today, but anyway, the reason I got to that was because it's going back over several books. Professor Susan Williams is, I've never met her in person. She's somebody I know in England, and she wrote a book called Who Killed Hammarskjöld, the UN and the rise of white supremacy. And so about the second Secretary General of the United Nations, Dag Hammarskjöld. And so she's written about the plane crash that killed him and whether it was deliberate. That was in 2011, and that has opened a lot of research. I started a Facebook page called Justice for Hammarskjöld in 2014. That was early social media days. So I was on the cusp of that. So that's kind of her area. She wrote about how the United States mined uranium in Congo to build the atomic bomb. So there's always been, so white malice is about the CIA destabilizing Africa and emerging African nations, independent nations, because when countries that threw off leaders, it's sad, but our people are extremely vulnerable. So that's why so many countries would throw off colonialism and then get taken over by dictators, because if you remove a power figure, then you're leaving a vacuum for a power figure. And when you don't have a structure with any checks and balances to protect against that, that's what's going to happen. So Susan's book drew quite a bit on a memoir by a CIA agent named Larry Devlin. He was stationed in the Democratic Republic of Congo after independence and he really spilled in his memoir. The CIA tried to assassinate Patrice Lumumba, who was the first prime minister of Congo and the Democratic Republic of Congo. And so Devlin was given poison and instructed to do it. So he wrote about, he didn't want to, he didn't think it was right. And so he kind of procrastinated on it. And so the Belgians killed Lumumba. So I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet, but his memoir was used in congressional hearings in the 1970s that's known as the Church Committee. And Frank Church of Idaho had already blown the lid off some business interests. And so with where I've gotten to now, he's putting together the church committee. So I try and go back and read, because like a book like Susan's, there'll be hundreds of books and sources in the bibliography. I love bibliographies. And so I try and go back and read some of the primary sources myself. I got kind of bored with Devlin's. But one of the things that happened to Devlin was his 14-year-old daughter was awarded a medal for bravery by the CIA. So how that happened was he had a wife and daughter that were on his position with him, and their home was burglarized. And so these thieves came into his daughter's bedroom, and she spoke Lingala, which is the most commonly used language native to DR Congo. It's a lot of people there speak French. So Devlin and his family spoke French and Lingala. So they didn't think that she would understand them. And so she started yelling at them in Lingala and told them that the United, saying something like they had like special powers or something because of the embassy, and led them into her parents' room, and her mother started going off on them too. And basically the family all got into the bathroom and locked the door. And that is one fucking brave 14-year-old, basically. And like, what presence of mind. I mean, so yeah. So I guess she wound up following her father into working for the CIA, which seems like she was kind of cut out for it. So a year ago was demonstrations in Iran after the death of Masa Amini. Iran has morality police and that just go around harassing people. And Masa Amini was a young woman that was picked up by the morality police and told that she was wearing her headscarf inappropriately. And they took her to a police station claiming that she was just needed to watch a film, and she was killed. So we talked about the demonstrations last year. It was all over Iran. It was demonstrations that had not been seen before. And a lot of them were women. I mean, it was led by women, but there were men. There are men that have joined in too. And there were absolutely brutal crackdowns. There were thousands of people jailed, and let me get the numbers. Yeah, 7 protesters were executed. One of them was publicly hanged. But people feel like it's changed things, and there's now more women going out without their heads covered, basically, which is just incredibly brave. And I read that what men are doing in solidarity is going out wearing the headscarves themselves it's to point out what it looks like when somebody's being forced to wear something, and they're going out wearing makeup in protest, because that's forbidden too. So I certainly have high hopes I'm hopeful that something will happen, because it just seems, there's just no way to even know how many people disappeared. I was following journalism and reports at the time from people who would just then go silent. And so it's a pretty scary place. There's been a lot of catastrophes in the world. There was an earthquake in Morocco. There's, I think, about 5,000 people missing, and there were floods in Libya, which have done just huge damage. Have you heard about Hawaii?
Yeah, when in town, I don't know how much of Hawaii, but I heard it was bad.
Yeah, it was.
Or something?
Pardon me?
Was it like a hurricane or a flood?
Wildfires.
What was it?
Wildfires.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was like a hurricane or something.
Maybe because they've had more hurricanes than fires. Yeah. They've never had wildfires before. And so we were having this discussion back to Hawaii, because you know how people, of course, people are being blamed. The governor, whatever, is being blamed for not sounding an alarm earlier. And I just do not, when you're in some emergency, catastrophe, it's the easiest thing in the world to go back and say somebody should have done something different. The reason he didn't pull it was because that usually means typhoons. He said he didn't do it, and then so it means typhoons, so people would have been running to get higher up to shelter from typhoons, and that was where the fire was. So that's why he didn't pull the alarm. But
What caused the fire? Do you know?
no,
They know?
I don't think so. I thought it was just global warming like the rest of them. I don't know, because it's complete. I mean, they've never had forest fires in Hawaii before. It's just completely different for them. But I mean, stuff like that can really change things, because people whose property, people were already getting offers from developers, people whose homes were destroyed were hearing from developers, and it just makes it, Hawaii already has major problems with indigenous citizens being priced out. Indigenous Hawaiians have needed to leave the island because they can't because it's so expensive. So that's a problem. I think this could be like Hurricane Katrina, the way when people can lose homes that have just been in their families for a long time. And so when somebody in that situation loses their home, they don't necessarily have the resources to get a new one. And so, yeah, they need rebuilding. They need help from the government just to go back to their lives. Just to go back to their homes. They shouldn't have to just, I don't know, it's funny because you talk about gentrification. Gentrification people will talk about gentrification meaning leaving a city, but leaving an island. You're like crossing water to get, that's really leaving. I don't know, just because moving from city to city I don't know, I guess in a way, like, because people can sort of be moving gradually, it doesn't seem as noticeable or dramatic. But when you see that people that are indigenous Hawaiians have needed to pick up in Las Vegas because their own state is too expensive for them. Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. It's getting to be wildfire. Wow, let's hope we don't have wildfires here. It's kind of, it wasn't so, now that I think of it, it hasn't been bad this year with fires. We haven't really had we didn't have any real bad heat waves this summer either.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Remember last year when it got like up to like 107 degrees?
Yeah.
The air was just different. It was so weird. Just everything felt different. It looked different. Everything looked hazy. So weird. Let's take another break.
Let's do it.
Let's go! Hallelujah, God is good all day, every day. When I wake up in the morning, I give thanks and I pray. I wrote this verse, then I gave thanks and praise. I smoke a blunt, beginning up, then I give thanks and praise. Ooh, Lord, please forgive me, I'm a fornicator. My soul is getting pleasure now, please don't burn it later. I believe God's a creator, not a terminator. Only a man will send a soul to an incinerator. Man is the perpetrator, and I'm offended. Man-made religion got the whole world tripping. If you're scared, go to church. I ain't been in years, shed so many tears. Hail Mary, no fear. Hell is a myth, and Satan don't exist. God is the Alpha and the Omega, that is it. Hell is a myth, and Satan don't exist. God is the Alpha and the Omega, that is it. All day, every day, so I give thanks and praise. All day, every day, so I give thanks and praise. God is good all day, every day, so I gotta give thanks and praise. Hey, God is good all day, every day, so I gotta give thanks and praise. Hey, second verse. Yeah, you baby. Mom and dad taught me well. Dedicated to my mom and dad. I got the best parents in the fucking world. Mom and dad taught me well. Thug nasty. Mom and dad taught me well. Yeah, also dedicated to the family, still in the struggle. God bless you. Mom and dad once told me the reason why they scold me is from a boy to a man. That's how they had to mold me. They weren't the best parents and they weren't the worst. And despite the dirt, me and my brothers came first. I was raised in the game. My parents taught me the ropes. From digital skills, backing up weed and selling dope. I understand that ain't the way you raise your child, but my mom and dad raised me the best way they knew how. When you have kids, they don't come with instructions or a manual to teach them how to function. I blame my parents for nothing because I'm full grown, and the choices I made in life, they were my own. So mom and dad, I dedicate this to you. Despite the hard times and jail times, you still stay true. I'm the D-E-R-R-E-L-L, aka Thug Nasty. Yeah, my mom and dad taught me well. It's the jam. Hey, turn it up, it's the jam. Hey, turn it up, it's the jam. I record, engineer, and produce myself, man. Hey, turn it up, it's the jam. Hey, turn it up, it's the jam. Hey, turn it up, it's the jam. I record, engineer, and produce myself. I'd rather hit the club, find a big girl and bounce to this. Roll up the weed, smoke an ounce to this. It be the same nigga, same shit, different smell. Wishing you well out on the streets in a cell. I done been through the system, but never again. The only crime I commit is with a paper and a pen. But then again, I'm a hustler, still in the game. Mr. Big Girl Pimpin', Thug Nasty the name. Not saying no names, I got haters on my nuts. I scratch them off with authority, not giving a fuck. I'm down on my luck, but never will I ever give up. Focus my mind on my music just to keep my head up. And though I spit some freaky flows and fuck a lot of hoes, I continue to play safe with rubber condos. I meant to say condoms, but that word wouldn't rhyme, so I had to make do and try to compromise. Thug Nasty.
You must hold same mankind. Reaching the floor, waiting to slow.
Yeah, Coke, Hennessy, and rum. I drink it while I'm looking on a woman till she come. I beat it from the back like I'm beating on the drum. Lord, please forgive me, cause Lord, here I come. I give it to her slow, then I speed it up. Then I grab her by her throat, then I beat it up. She told me that she want the nipple and she likes it rough. I ain't never been no punk, so I get it up. Giddy up, girl, giddy up. Ass up, face down, I eat it up. I be eating on the groceries like I need a lunch. I'm a knock for a nut, can't get enough. Show up. I'm an addict, alcoholic, and an info. Getting money, fucking bitches, making pornos. I'm addicted to this game, won't let it go. Is there a heaven for a freak? Only Lord knows. Presto, manifesto, presto. This is my sexual manifesto. Presto, manifesto, presto. This is my sexual manifesto.
Yeah. A little bit more of that Thug Nasty sexual manifesto. And we are back. Anna's Global History Radio podcast. Anna, you in the building?
Yeah, we're on a Thug Nasty roll.
Dude, I'm trying to tell you, man. Thug Nasty got hits, man.
Thug Nasty, where are you, man? He should be on here. We better get him. We should get him on the show again.
Got to. It's gonna happen. I feel it.
Okay. Dynasty was just in the chat.
Dynasty on the beats. What up, Dynasty?
Hi, Dynasty. Yeah, she's never come on our show, has she?
I don't know. I think you had her on here once.
Yeah, I think once a while ago. Yeah.
Oh, she's off the hook.
Yeah. Hit us up if you want to come back, Dynasty. Love to see you. So there's been a couple West African coups, and Niger has we talked about that. The coup leader in Niger was a former United Nations peacekeeper. So he's claimed that there will be elections, but there's been no word about that yet. And the president of Niger is being kept in prison or kept under house arrest. So there's also been a coup in Gabon, and Ali Bongo was ousted, and his family has run Gabon since 1967. Gabon gained independence from France in 1960, and Ali Bongo's father took over in 1967. It's just been that family ever since. So he was overthrown and is just being kept, is not been arrested or anything. He's just there. And the army general that is overthrew him is a relative. So it could be partially an inside deal to cover up all the financial crimes. So I don't really know what's going to happen with that. I've just been trying to figure it out more. Like, coups tend to happen in clusters, and so I was trying to figure out what's going on over there. And then speaking of dictators, there's been celebrations in different parts of the world celebrating Eritrean in the 30-year anniversary of Eritrean independence. However, Eritrea is one of the most repressive dictatorships in the world. So there were Eritrean immigrants demonstrating in the state of Israel, and the prime minister said that they should be sent back. Yeah, sounds like Trump. It was unclear whether, I was probably reading fucking Israeli sources, because it says Eritreans were demonstrating. Well, are they Eritrean Israelis, or are they Eritrean? Are they asylum seekers? And there were also demonstrations in Germany, which were, so yeah, because it's, I don't know, it's weird when trying to like celebrate it's celebrating Eritrea's independence, but Eritreans do not have independence. It's one of the countries that people are trying to get away from, and a lot of them are on where a lot of people wind up is Lampedusa, which is an island off of Italy, and the head of the European Union was just visiting Lampedusa and saying that they need to do more, which, I mean, where the fuck are people supposed to go? I don't know. It's weird. There's migration, and then there's homelessness. I feel like it just seems like there is just a huge percentage of the world that does not have a place to be. It just, I don't know. I think I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. I'm getting emotional over kittens. I was getting emotional over people sleeping in the woods and stuff. I don't know what's wrong, but it is. And so there is actually a clip of a woman in Iran saying "screw you" to the morality police. So the New York authorities have seized 3 artworks from 3 out-of-state museums. So I don't really know how they do that. How they it's kind of interesting legally. Like, how does New York City have the power to take artwork from museums in other states? I mean, it has to laws about those kind of laws about, I don't know. I mean, there's international policies and I mean, I guess because it's a federal crime and it's the federal, that's all I can think of.
And I got a question for you.
Okay.
All these little run-in and stealings that people are doing, where groups of people are running in.
Hmm?
What are you gonna be able to do about that?
Pardon me?
You know how people are running
Yeah.
in and stuff?
Yeah.
You think they're ever going to find a way to stop it?
No. I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, you mean the masses of people?
It shows like a bunch of people, like they all have masks on and they
Yeah.
run in, and
Yeah.
there's like they all just like steal stuff and go out, and then it's like, I guess now you can't really touch them. You can't do nothing. That's what I heard by law. You
Oh
can't.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Well, that's why stuff is just, I thought, because there was like stealing flash mobs or something where like people would get organized and like tons of people would go into a store at once. But if you're just talking about not being allowed to do anything about shoplifters, yeah, that's what they say in San Francisco.
Because I mean, I've seen where there'll be 1 or 2 people that come in,
Yeah.
steal stuff, and like they do it so casually now
Yeah.
that they put a mask on and take a bunch of stuff and leave, and no one touches them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do that. They do that in Seattle too. I'm not sure. I don't really understand how that's all supposed to, how that, like, well, then why have, I don't know. I mean, I had a friend who worked in a mall and she was supposed to confront shoplifters. I was like, well, that's crazy. She was supposed to like follow them. I mean, she was just a store manager. It's one thing to have security guards deal with people, but I don't know. I mean, there's different. It's just such a deep there. I don't know. I mean, I just think things like that happen for so many reasons. I mean, I'm just trying to, when's London Breed up for re-election? I mean, I was reading something or other about, I mean, she put in her own, well, the district attorney that replaced Chesa Boudin. I don't know. I mean, I think that they are. I think that. I mean, I certainly don't think that people in a store should put themselves in danger. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's I think it partially. I mean, it's so easy for things to escalate. I mean, somebody got tased in the grocery outlet by the security guard. I was amazed. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. There was something around, because Ron, the security guard there, I mean, he knows everybody knows him. And so I was there. There was some issue going on, and I don't know, they were dealing with somebody and with something, because I've never seen anything too crazy go down there. But yeah, I guess the security guard tased him. So, yeah. But I guess they're kind of, I don't know. I guess they just feel like people are so fucking crazy that they just don't want to risk what can happen. They don't want to risk people going more crazy, or I don't know. I don't really understand it. One of the things they're trying to do, and they're talking about doing in Vallejo, which will hopefully happen, is assisting businesses. I mean, they need to help out the businesses here. I think that should be the number one thing. I mean, it's just like there's I always keep meaning to support them. There's a coffee shop and like lunch place called The Grind, and they've been broken into 3 times, and their insurance company dropped them. So the city is supposed to be helping with some of that, with some of those costs. And yeah, that's what they should be doing. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, it's wild. Stuff just keeps closing, and yeah, it's weird, because I'm trying to like just buy everything locally and not get locally. And there was just some stupid thing I needed that, and I was like, shit. I mean, it's just I wind up ordering stuff on Amazon because they don't have it here in Vallejo, and that just gets more places, not supporting Vallejo businesses, just gets more of them shut down. And yeah. Yeah. What do you think they should do?
I don't know. I don't know what you can do. I was just curious if you heard something that I haven't,
No.
I just keep seeing, I'll see the videos of people getting all these clothes and just walking out and no one touches them.
Yeah. I don't understand that. I don't understand why security guards can't do anything in those circumstances.
I did hear that they were told just to call the police, but they had to just kind of sit there.
Well, police aren't going to come. I mean, anybody can call the police.
Yeah,
you may just tell your store people to call the police.
That's what I'm hearing, man. That's most security guards now are told not to really, someone's stealing, don't touch them, just call the police.
I don't know. I mean,
like if you touch them, let's just say something happens, you can get sued, and
that's why. Yeah.
I think that's the major reason, but
yeah,
which is crazy to me considering they're coming on your property. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy.
They're not in Texas.
Pardon?
You better be lucky they're not in Texas.
I know. Yeah, they're not gonna put up with that shit there. What?
I said those flash mobs don't happen there.
No, they don't.
Target practice in Texas.
Yeah, they probably like those moving targets.
That's what I'm saying. It was hey.
Wow. Wow. Senator Frank Church was probably one of the, I don't know, if he wasn't the last Democrat or near to the last Democrats elected from Idaho. So he was elected in 1956, and Idaho at the time was like a mixed state. I mean, it's so hard to picture now, but yeah, there were Democrats and Republicans in public office. And he opposed the Vietnam War. And so what he needed, so that was kind of too progress. So for some people in his state, that was a little bit too radical. So what he did was come out strongly against gun control, sort of to keep all the Idaho people, so that he could go back to Idaho and say, like, see, I'm not really like one of those crazy radicals. I'm going to protect your guns. You know who else does that?
Who?
Burn Dog.
Burn Dog.
Burn Dog has an A rating from the NRA.
Oh. Burn Diggity.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, people will do stuff like that because if to try and like appease people, and he's like, I'm from a hunting state. It's like, gun control is not about hunting rifle, so but yeah, I mean, it was easier to get back. Actually, I mean, gun control didn't used to be so nothing. I mean, lots of things weren't as politicized back then, but I mean, gun control, the gunfights weren't as crazy back then in the 70s at all.
That's all mass shootings.
Pardon?
Mass shootings.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a little bit more. I think that's what really brought it out, was the mass shootings. I remember back when they had that Bowling for Columbine, back when the Columbine stuff happened.
Yeah.
Ever since the mass shootings, like, the gun thing has been a big issue.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, I don't think it's not, I'm not so sure that gun control I think that a lot of the mass shootings are going to happen anyway, even if there was more. I mean, I think even if it was harder to get guns, people that really want guns are going to get them. I think that the mass shootings are more, I think that there's just other factors. I mean, one of the big reasons I believe, I mean, it's the accidental shootings bother me more in some respects, because I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, it's all tragic, but I mean, when somebody, the thing of like, kids getting into their parents' stuff. But actually, I mean, if there were, I don't know. I mean, I really go back and forth on it with gun control. Like they're saying, like one of the reasons, like, there's the belief of that there would be less suicide if guns weren't so easy to get a hold of.
I don't know. I don't know if there will be less suicides.
I think it's possible, because I think I think that there's just thought processes. I mean, I think the way, because I think if somebody's going to taking your life through suicide, I think shooting yourself is quicker than other things, so you have less time to change your mind. shooting can seem easier to people.
I can see that. I'm also kind of, and this is I don't know if this is mean to say, but I'm also kind of wanting to go back to how back in the Reagan era, when people were kind of like had mental issues, that they would come and pick them up and like kind of make them go see a medical or mental, to a mental hospital.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I hate to say it like that. I get it. People should be able to do it. It's their body, their mind, blah.
There's people that agree with you.
I think it was a better time, and for situations where people want to commit suicide and stuff,
Yeah.
call it a bit. I'd be like, hey, come get this person. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, you can't.
It may not. At least they'll go to a hospital. At least they'll be alive for a little bit longer.
Well, yeah, the problem is that they used to be able to do it for everybody. People used to be institutionalized that didn't need to be institutionalized. People with mental illness and developmental disabilities that were perfectly capable of, living with families, living in supportive situations. None of that existed. So a lot of things changed after the Americans with Disabilities Act, and people used to, and the Special Education Acts in the 70s, people used to need to, now the schools are required to educate children with disabilities, and they didn't used to be. And so with the mental institutions in the Reagan era, people were in there with Downs. People that were harmless, people that posed no danger to themselves or others would be in institutions. That was the problem. Actually, my dad just published an article about that, because my younger brother is mentally ill and addicted, and it's nothing we can. And when he's been, he was in a mental hospital for about a year, and he did really well. He did really well. He'll stabilize, he'll take his meds and stuff. And, but that's how mental illness works. He goes off the meds and then he thinks he doesn't need them, and that nothing can be done about it. So, yeah, my dad worked on legislation to allow family members to be informed about, to be able to talk to doctors or something, or for family members to be able to get more information. Then we have another family member that's developmentally disabled, and she's my age. And when I was young, people were still being sent away, kids, but she never was. And it was she was pretty profoundly disabled, and it was unusual at the time for people to keep their kids home. So I was talking about it with my dad, and we're like, yeah, they used to. So basically, in the past, people like my cousin Melissa would have been put into institutions, and she doesn't need one. She can't function independently, but she lives with the family, and she has different support services. So, but yeah, people like there isn't mechanisms for people to protect people from themselves. Yeah. And my little bro, he's always been that. He's just when he gets someplace structured, he just thrives. I mean, when he can get stabilized, I mean, he likes things like that. He likes like reward. He does really well when there's like reward systems and stuff like that. I mean, but he can't, he goes off his meds. And so, yeah. I don't think anyone knows where he is now. But yeah, I mean, people used to be locked up for being, people used to think being left-handed was an aberration. I mean, people used to force left-handed people to write right-handed.
Yep, I'm left-handed and I'm not writing right-handed.
Did they ever try and make you write right-handed when you were a kid?
Nah.
Yeah. Yeah, by the time, yeah, they didn't do that so much. They didn't do that so much. But yeah, that's what they used to do. I mean, people will talk about like, yeah, people talk about like having like they were so that used to be attitude about differences. It's something like Can you do stuff with your right hand if you have to?
Well, a little bit, and it won't be as good.
Yeah. Yeah. I take another break.
Yeah, let's do it.
Pronto, give me head right now like I'm Sancho. Make a bitch right now, call me Congo. Till we get to the door of a condo where she push me in Shondo. Make a gag when I pass her tonsils. Big ass how she make it wobble. Lemon squeeze with Jose Guavo. Then she mixed it in Chapo. When I hit, then I get that guapo. Quarterback when I pass like Flacco. Selling dough from a boat like Pablo. Yeah, she wanted to win. I pushed in and she pushed me out. I'm about to push in, bust a spring off the couch, bounce off the cushion, the spring in the mouth. Well, it started drop cushion while the cream poured out. Ooh, new position, she figured it out. Now we in pole position, no feeling, no doubt. Yeah, no vision and looking around, sweat dripping, stripping down. No kissing, but kissing now. Long session of sex and sounds. Now we stretching seconds out. Then take a neck flex and press it down. Time to count that flex account. Then I'm trying to find an exit route. Turned out, try to bounce with an extra spouse. Leaned out, who the next account? Teamed out for the next account. Wheeled out through the back of the house. Yeah.
She got $1 million body with a food stamp face. I give her beer money for a champagne taste. I'm lucky it don't bother her that I'm a cheapskate, so I took her out to Mickey D's on her first date. Yeah, she's 21 and I'm loving it. She got me singing ba da ba 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 while she's sucking it. She's a cheap date and I'm a cheapskate. I'm getting head with a Happy Meal on the first date. Yeah, she make it disappear like a magic trick. I be swimming in her throat like a mark spit. She say she never tasted semen such as sweet as this. I had me a Snickers right before I seen the bitch. We in the studio making porno videos. You wanna see it though? Cash App or Venmo. Shado get the money like pronto. And Thug Nasty giving bitches mandingo nasty. And she not feeling we not fucking, so don't ask me. I'm in the Uber getting hit in the backseat. I love to put my tongue right between her ass cheeks. Then I'm sticking it in, she classy. In the streets with own film, she getting nasty. Her only fans getting money, she fancy. She give me money, give me hit and call me daddy. When I'm sticking it in pronto.
Give me head right now like I'm Sancho. Make a bitch right down, call me Congo. Till we get to the door of a condo where she pushed me in.
Yeah, I'm dealing dope again. I roll a gram and a blunt just to smoke again. I'm sipping rum and some coke just to cope again. I got some prison prize, I don't wanna go again. Oh Lord, I'm dealing dope again. The landlord's raising rent, here we go again. I hit the block block serving pitch, yeah, I came to win. I got some prison prize, I don't wanna go again. I got some weed, I got some pills, I got some work. I got a couple narcs, a few oxys and some perks. I don't do credit, first come, first serve. I'm trying to get this money every day like it's the first. Yeah, your girl be texting me, she says she want a taste. So I pull it out to slap her with it on her face. She's a bag chaser, so this bag she gon' chase. Knock ass bitch, I make her knock ass pay. More money, more women, more clothes. Your bitch went missing, where she at, who knows? Out all night getting money she chose. I'm fucking with that white girl playing with my nose. Yeah, I'm dealing dope again. I roll a gram and a blunt just to smoke again. I'm sipping rum and some coke just to cope again. I got some prison prize, I don't wanna go again. Oh Lord, I'm dealing dope again. The landlord's raising rent, here we go again. I hit the block serving pitch, yeah, I came to win. I got some prison prize, I don't wanna go again. Knocks knocking at my door, coming back for more. My weed is top shelf, I got the best dough. Your bitch called me for some work, now she gotta go. And if that bitch ain't got no money, then she gotta blow. Oh, I ain't shit, I already know. Fucking bitches and getting money is all I know. I've been hustling since the year 1994. Nasty nigga for life with the residuals. Yeah, I'm dealing dope again. I'm giving deals to my neighbors and my residents. Lord forgive me for my sins, I know it's evident. But when I'm taking bitches down, they say I'm heaven sent. Oh Lord, I'm dealing dope again. Women swallowing my soul just to smoke again. I've been living my best life, I see some hope again. Since I've been dealing dope again, I'm never broke again. Yeah, I'm dealing dope again. I roll a gram and a blunt just to smoke again. I'm sipping rum and some coke just to cope again. I got some prison prize, I don't wanna go again. Oh Lord, I'm dealing dope again. The landlord's raising rent, here we go again. I hit the block serving pitch, yeah, I came to win. I got some prison prize, I don't wanna go again.
Thug Nasty. Yeah. This is Anna's Global History Podcast Radio. And we are back. Anna, you in the building?
Sure am. It's Thug Nasty Night at Global History Radio.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, man. We need to do like an in-person duck soup sometime.
Well, we'll get it. We'll get it one of these days. It'll happen.
You can do it here if you don't want to.
Down. I'm with it.
Okay. Because I used to have you didn't used to have so many podcasts going on because, yeah, you get a bunch of people coming into your place. So, yeah. So I have, did you get to look at my book?
I looked at your book.
You did?
Anna has a dope book. I like the art. I like the way it was drawn. I like the comic book feel to it. It's different, and plus I like that it's history.
Yeah.
You did a very, very good job with this book.
Thank you. Alan did a great job with the art. Yes, civil. I'm waiting to get more copies printed. I saved, guys, we only had like 25. I saved one for Roselle. Definitely. I was like, Rose getting the first batch. Yeah.
Copy, everybody.
That's right.
Copy.
Yeah. Weird, because I've been I haven't heard from any big wigs yet about it. I'm like tripping. I'm like, but yeah, I've gotten some good comments from other people. I have the book release party is October 1st, Sunday at Ethnic Notions on Marin. It'll be wild. And then I guess there'll be like food and stuff.
What time is it?
It's from 4 to 6.
Okay. So I'm supposed to be getting my hair done at your hairdresser.
Well, she'll be there too.
So that's funny. So I guess because she was one that was like, "Can you do it on October 1st?" I was like, "Yeah, okay." And then so I guess that makes sense because usually what I'll try to schedule it early,
Yeah.
way before 4.
Yeah, Tamla starts real early in the morning. So yeah. So that'll be cool. But yeah, I'm never had anybody else set stuff up when I'm like, really? She's making the flyer and everything. So and I want to have a Zoom going during that. So Alan, because I'm supposed to be, so Alan can come in and talk to people too. And so that my family can be there. I don't know if anyone.
Your family's coming to it too?
On Zoom?
Oh, Zoom. Gotcha.
Yeah, this is the biggest thing in my life, So yeah, I want my family to be there. Hopefully they'll pop in to say hi. So yeah, because it was surprising. I mean, I don't know. I want my family there. So yeah. So yeah, so we're working on getting more printed up. And so yeah, so they should be down at the joint soon. And oh God, this was fucking sad. I sent a book to somebody I've known for a long time, who's a successful writer, and I sent it to her, I mean, I hope she'd give it a plug or review or something. And I hadn't looked at her Facebook for a while. And I looked at it as an article that she's starting a press, that she's starting a publishing company. And I was like, oh shit. I was so embarrassed because I wrote on the post, I was like, I did not see this before I sent you the book. Because I was really embarrassed because that just would not be cool to just, I wouldn't just send somebody your book like that when it's somebody, I mean, it just, just so hopefully she'll see that because I was like, yeah, I thought she might review it or post about it, but I certainly wasn't pitching it. She just she just started this company. And I think I wouldn't have, I mean, it's new, it's starting out. I mean, I wouldn't have pitched it anyway. So yeah, so hopefully that'll be clear. But yeah, I'm just hoping to get more copies out. Some copies have gone to some of the people that the artist knows. Yeah. And I'm supposed to be working on the next one. And then October 14th, I'm going to screen the documentary film Ida B. Wells, A Passion for Justice. I've only shown it once, a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's weird because I kind of have a stable of films that I rotate, but I've only shown this one once, kind of because, so that'll be good because with some of the stuff I've done, I'm feeling like because you can always show stuff again, and different people will see it, or the same people will see it. But this one I've only shown once. So I need to do partially, because it's about journalism, which I have as deep an interest in as other stuff. So, but yeah, I've learned because last time I showed this, I had some journalists come lead the discussion, and one of them was a real pain in the ass, and I was like, why am I fucking doing it? I booked it. I should lead the discussion. It's weird. It's like sometimes I've had this, when you're booking something, sometimes I don't want to put myself out in front because I've arranged it all, but I have things I want. I have ideas. I have things I would like people to, I have goals. I have things I think would be cool for people to learn and discuss. And so I'm definitely trying to do more of those. And do more of that. This guy he was really annoying because he got on this role about teaching I mean, it was my fucking fault. I shouldn't have. I was doing it with somebody was working with me and she didn't do any work and I let her pick him, and yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But he got really upset. I mean, this was a couple of years ago. He started focusing on Mila, on Tamla's daughter. And this was like a couple of years ago. She was only like 10 then or something. And she was really tired that day. She was practically falling. He just was totally focused on her. And then and Tamla's mother was like, why is he later? She's like, why? I mean, Mila's mother, Tamla, was like, why is he just talking to her? She's so, yeah, but this will be good. This is about Ida B. Wells, and very interesting. And this will be at a different facility, and I really like getting to show films in different facilities because he just brings out different crowds. And I have different sponsors for this and bring in different people that will hopefully help publicize. So, but October 1st is the book release party, and then I'll have to try and figure out other events for the book too. So you got any other shows coming up?
Nothing in the next week. So I'm gonna try to chill this week a little bit.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
Yeah. See if that happens. Yeah. So there's a new show on Hulu, called The Other Black Girl, and it's based on a novel that I read a couple years ago that I liked a lot. It was about a young Black woman working in publishing, and another young Black woman comes to work there. And so it's like it's a horror thing. It's real and it's horror. And I love stuff like that. And when I finished the book, I found the author on Twitter and posted, I really like your book. I think it would be a great Hulu series. And she wrote back saying, thank you. It's being developed for Hulu. So yeah, so it's good. It has like a good look to it. And yeah. So get that creative stuff made, people. Okay, well, I guess we'll see everybody next week.
Next week, y'all.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.